Here's a fun recipe for something called Cruffins. Cruffins were invented in 2013 in Australia, and then they were patented by Mr. Holmes Bakehouse in San Francisco, who really popularized them in the United States. I've tried a number of different recipes for this. Some worked, some didn't work as well. This one works pretty well, so this is the one that I use. So we're going to proof our yeast first, and I've got a cup of warm milk, which I'm putting in my mixer bowl. I've got a quarter of a cup of castor sugar, super fine sugar. And here I have one package, or 2.5 or 2.25 teaspoons of dry yeast, a quarter ounce. And then I'm just going to put it in my mixer bowl, give it a good mix up. And then what I need to do before I can do anything else is I have to let this sit for about 15 minutes and really let it get foamy. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave it here, and I'll see you back in 15 minutes. Our yeast has proofed for about 15 minutes, and now let's proceed with the dough. So I have here 3 cups of regular all-purpose flour, which I'm going to sift, probably 2.5 cups in here. I just want to be sure I don't put in too much flour. Sometimes you need more, sometimes you need less. I'm going to hold back that last half a cup, and we'll see how this goes. Then afterwards, I have in front of me, as you can see, I have some melted butter. I have a quarter of a cup of melted butter. I have half a teaspoon of salt, and I'm going to put in a half a teaspoon of vanilla. Okay, that's all the flour I'm going to put in. It's actually about 1/3 of a cup in there. Okay, let's just finish this off. So we'll add in our salt, the half a teaspoon of vanilla. God, I love the smell of this. And that quarter cup of melted butter. Okay, now we're going to put this on our mixer. And we're going to do this on a gentle low, just see how it brings together, and then we'll see if we need any more flour. And then afterwards, I'm going to knead it on the board for a while. I'm going to put in more flour because that's a little bit too sticky. So that's all the rest of the flour. All right, now we'll put it out on our table. Just a little bit left in there. And now I'm going to spend about anywhere from 6 to 8 minutes just kneading this until it gets nice and smooth. And we're just about done. So now I've got my greased bowl ready. And I'm just going to shape this into a ball. I'm going to put it in the greased bowl, and I'm going to cover this up, and I'm going to leave it for a minimum of 1 hour, maybe an hour and a half, until it at least doubles in bulk. And then we'll come back and I'll show you how to form these. Our cruffin dough is now doubled in size. So I'm going to take it out of this big bowl, and put it on the table, and let it take some of the air out of it. Nice, feels nice. Get that out of here. We're also going to need, for this part of it, a muffin pan, actually 2, because this recipe is going to make 12 of these cruffins. And what I've done is generously buttered these. I'll put that aside for now. I need some soft butter with a brush of some sort. You can also use a palette knife or whatever. And this is a jar of cinnamon sugar. There's no measurement on this. You're going to sprinkle cinnamon sugar on it. You'll need a rolling pin, a knife, and I've got a bench scraper just in case. So here we go. I'm going to divide this dough into 6 pieces. There's 1. There's 3. I'm going to work with 1 piece at a time. Okay. Now, I'm just going to put a little bit of flour on the board. And now I'm going to roll this out as big as I can. I want it very long and probably, about 5-6 inches wide. And this dough nicely stretches. So you can just really work with it very well. Now, keep moving it so it doesn't stick. The reason you want it so long is we're going to roll this up and you want to have all those wonderful layers. I wish this was a little bit wider, but not a big deal. Okay, this can come down a little bit. Okay. That's probably 17, 18 inches, maybe. Okay, so I'm going to take some butter. I'm going to actually put the shorter end down here. I'm going to take some butter and brush it all over. This butter's going to make it nice and flaky, and butter always adds flavor. You want to be, fairly generous with it. Now I want some cinnamon sugar. How much? Tablespoon, tablespoon and a quarter. Just not even a tablespoon. And now roll it up really small. Just keep pulling it. Again, the thinner it is, the better it is. Okay, there's a nice roll. Now, with the seam side down, I'm going to just pull it out and make it a little bit longer. Okay. Now, sharp knife right down the center. Now we're going to roll it up like a snake. You want the cut side facing up. And then just tuck the end under a little bit. And there you go. You got your first one. Put it in there. again. Here's another one. Put it in there. And I'm just going to keep forming these until I have all 12 done. And then when I have all 12 done, I will cover them with a tea towel and I will let them rise again. But you don't need to let them rise as long, probably half an hour, maybe 45 minutes at the most. Our cruffins have been rising for a little over an hour and they're ready to go into the oven. As you can see, I've done them in 2 different size pans. This is a regular muffin pan, which has a much wider and deeper well. And this is a regular cupcake pan. And I'm going to show you that if you do them in the smaller ones, you're going to get a higher cruffin, you'll get a lower cruffin here. So what I'm doing now is I am egg washing them. And I can already tell we're going to get some interesting shapes because of the swirls, the way they're rising. It's kind of cool to see which way they come out. And then we've got a nice way to finish these off later on. So now my oven is heating at 350 degrees. These are going in for 20 to 25 minutes until they get nice and brown. And then I'll show you how they look when they come out of the oven. So here are the cruffins right out of the oven. You can see they're nice and brown. They smell wonderful. I can't do anything with these until they cool down completely. So I'm going to leave them in the pan for about 10 minutes, take them out, cool them completely, and then I'll show you what I do to them to finish them off. So our cruffins are cool to room temperature. Let me show you a couple of different ways that you can serve these. You can serve it just like this if you want to, and they're very good because of all that nice cinnamon sugar that's in there. Or you can take it and just put icing sugar on it, confectioner sugar. That's a good way to eat it too. One way that I really like to eat it, let me see, I take this one. Now, if you have one of these, if you know what they are, this is a cupcake corer, and it makes the hole in the center of the cupcake so you can fill it up with stuff. I tend to like to use this, my apple corer, instead. So if you have one of these at home, if you don't, you can do this with just a sharp knife. And don't go all the way down to the bottom, but you know, get a good hunk in there. It's so fresh that the center doesn't want to come out. So I'll just pop it out with my knife. And now what can you do? I'm going to fill it with a couple of different things. This is homemade pastry cream. I'll put in like halfway up with that. And then I've got some strawberry jam. And I will fill that up. Okay. And shh, don't tell anybody. I didn't make my own. You can though. And then dust it. And you put that on a plate and tell me that that's not a wonderful little dessert, just waiting for a cup of coffee or tea. So there's a whole bunch of stuff you can do with this. You can fill them, you don't have to fill them, they're yours, you do whatever you want. Hope you try them. Cruffins, a cross between a croissant and a muffin.